10 niches, specifically shirt niches, that have high volume of searches, which is what the customers are typing into the Etsy search bar, but low volume of Etsy competition. So other sellers that are using that term in their SEO, their search engine optimization, their title, and in their tags. 10 of them. And I'm first going to show you how it is that I identified these, so you could do this at any time you want to and for any product that you want to. Let's start now. First, we're coming over here to Erank, and we're going to go over into their tools, keyword tool. Once we're there, we're going to type in a really broad term like shirts. So you can just put your product there. Maybe you want to do research on mugs, or maybe you want to do research on tote bags. Just put your product, something really broad. We're going to do shirts. I am using the paid version of Erank, but there is a free trial that you can use as well. You just have a little more limited information. But if you're not making money with your Etsy shop yet, then that might be a great way to start. And once you start making some money with your Etsy shop, you can reinvest it and invest in tools like this that will make research easier for you. Next, what we're looking to do here, we're looking at our average searches in our Etsy competition. That top green bar is the average searches. Green is great for the word shirts here, and we've got for Etsy competition red, which means there's a lot of Etsy competition for shirts, which we might have already guessed, right? So that's the first goal that we had, is to identify the fact that there's lots of space in the market for us. There's a lot of people searching for this, which is how we're going to identify that. Over here, we see the search trend, so we could see by month which months get the highest volume of searches. So we're coming up on some months that sell a lot of shirts here in April and May. Now, even though that's what the search trend is showing there, with that little graph, I sell more shirts, and most sellers sell more shirts during Q4, which is October, November, and December. Those months, you're going to make gobs of sales if you are designing in holiday niches and making very giftable items that people want to buy as gifts for family members. But I think it's very interesting that we see that spike there in those months, and it was April and May, and it would be interesting to find niches that sell well during those months, as there might be a lot of sales in particular niches at that time. So kind of takes time to round your shop out throughout the months of the year, but once you start getting it rounded out, you really start making consistent sales throughout the year. January is always lowest for me, so right now we are in January. I'm filming this January 2nd. It's going to air tomorrow, January 3rd. And if you are feeling a slump in sales, don't worry, it's normal. I went from 150 sales a day, and I had last week, there was a day where I had three orders only. And now I'm kind of coming back into the double digits, most days getting between 10 and 15. So it'll start to ramp up as I start to prepare the shop and list with these niches we're about to chat about. We're looking at the word shirts here, and as we look down, what our goal is going to be, we've got all of these related searches down below under here. And we're going to just take a look at these related searches, and we're going to look at this column, average searches. We want green here. And we're going to look at this last column, the Etsy competition column. And we're just going to do a sweep to see if we can find any green or yellow areas over there, showing that there is more space for us to hit the market in that particular topic, as there are fewer sellers, but there's still a lot of searches. So a lot of searches over here, green is good. This means a lot of competition. Now, just to be clear, I am not saying that, for example here, Christian shirts. We've got green for searches, we've got red for Etsy competition. That is a fantastic niche, and I do suggest getting into that if you have an interest in that. You just would have to make sure you're finding ways to niche down and little pockets of places to design in and cross-niching with other topics. So you have to get kind of creative if you see this really broad, tons of searches here, but also tons of competition. It doesn't mean that I think you shouldn't design there. I design in places like that all the time. I'm just very good at making sure that I niche down. We are going to ignore anything like Disney shirts or Disney World shirts. I didn't have a lot of luck with the word shirts, but I wanted to include this to show you what I do next, because this might happen to you when you go in to do your own research. Now, Christmas shirts, that's not really applicable at the moment. I'm not going to go and design Christmas shirts. Cruise shirts, custom shirts, those are great. Halloween shirts isn't really applicable at the moment. And I went back a couple of pages, and all I was finding, green in this column, which is great, but I was seeing all red in this column. And then we started getting into light green, which is not as good over here in our average searches. This might happen to you too. You might have to go a different route and try a different keyword. I'm just going to do shirt. So even just shirt to shirts gave me different results. So we're going to do shirt this time. Just taking a second to give us the updated info. Still tons of searches, tons of competition. But this time we've got completely different related searches. And this is where I was more successful with finding some little niches that could do really well. Tons of great niches here. These are all green and red. Definitely all worth doing, except for things like Disneyland shirt. Don't want to do anything with that. Thanksgiving shirt we'll wait till later in the year for that. This is coming out in January, so that's not a good one to work on right now. But we've got anime, we've got cat, we've got dog. You would just want to niche down in any of these places. Mushroom shirt, coffee shirt, bride, Christian. Again, you just want to niche down, all great. But here we go. This is what I was looking for, particularly when I sat down to do this research today. We've got, for strawberry shirt, dark green and light green. So this is one that I wanted to investigate. For the purpose of moving along a bit quicker through our 10 niches, I won't be showing all of these steps for all of the niches that we're going to be looking at, but just know that this is where they're all coming from. So the first one we're going to do is strawberry shirt. I'm going to show you the next two things I did to investigate that a bit more. And then I would come back to this list. I checked out SZA shirt. If you're not familiar, it's a singer. You wouldn't want to do anything with that. We've got reading and retro shirt. Those are red. We had yellow over here for the Etsy competition with D&D shirt. Another thing that's trademarked. You wouldn't want to do that. Yoga. And then we've got doula shirts. And that one is dark green over here, so even better than the light green. And that is what I'm going to want to investigate, doula shirt. And I went right through the list just like this. So doula is going to be our second niche. Frog shirt is going to be our third niche. But let me show you what I did next with each of these niches. Now what I'm going to do for each of these niches, and I'll show you the results that I got. I just won't do all the clicking with you, but know that this is what I did. The first thing I did was I clicked on strawberry shirt here, and now I'm going to get more information on strawberry shirt. I can see the keyword statistics, of course, are here. I already knew that we had green and green, and now I can see exactly what the searches are by month throughout the year. And I could see that last August and September is really when this kicked up and had the most searches and most likely the most sales. If this is when it was getting the most searches, then I know I want to be listing in this niche. By May and June, I want to make sure that I have my listings up so that I'm ready to make those sales when people are coming in and buying in August and in September. The next thing I did is went to have a little look on Etsy itself to see what kinds of things were selling. I did do all filters. I clicked on star seller, and then you go up to the search bar and you remove star seller out and you write best instead. You're going to remove the word star and write best. And then you could just have a little look to see the types of shirts that are being designed. You're going to see with this particular niche, strawberry shortcake, stay away from that one, as that would be trademarked. But just some simple shirts here with strawberries across the front. Here you could take a look at this one. It's got 8 in the cart right now. And I have Everbee, and I like to take a little closer look. So clicking on Everbee, I can see the stats of this one. They've had a total of 211 sales, and they listed it 8 months ago. So they would have listed it in time for that rush of traffic they were seeing back in June. Or August and September, I think it was. So as we continue to just kind of scroll and take a look, I might click on a couple of these listings, take a little look to see what kinds of sales that they're making. We've got here the couples one, a mama and a dada with strawberries. We've got a lot of shirts with just a bunch of strawberries on them. We've got a strawberry and shortcake. We wouldn't want to do anything with that. And another one here with lots of strawberries. And as I kind of clicked through these, I saw a lot of shirts with some nice sales on them. Most of them listed in time to catch those sales that they would have been, when they saw that increase for that month of August and September. So lots of simple, kind of cottagey core types of designs here in the strawberry niche. Next up, our second niche, we've got doula. And a doula is a professional that is supporting a mom-to-be or someone who is in labor or just had a baby. So the statistics on this one look great. We've got the average searches there at 2,047 per month, and we've got the Etsy competition with that little solid green there with just 9,797 listings that have doula shirt as one of their tags or in their title. So when we look at this, we kind of see all over the place with the graph that there's pretty consistently, months, every other month, there's like a little boom in this niche. And it really has its high in April and May of last year is when its high is, and then another high in August. So this might be a good one to be designing in now. And when we take a look on Etsy, making sure we filter by bestseller, which I've already done here, we could take a look at the kinds of designs that are selling. And we see some customized designs that say doula with their, the doula's name over top. We see some labor and delivery nurse ones are kind of hand in hand with that. If I were working on doula, I'd probably do the same designs up for labor and delivery nurse shirts, but lots of space in this niche. And while we're on the topic of labor and delivery nurse shirts, I went ahead and did a quick search. We've got green for searches, yellow for the competition, which is looking pretty good, and those look like they sell well right here at the beginning of the month, and some other kind of spikes throughout the year. You may have heard the saying before, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And I really couldn't agree with that more, especially in this business. You really need to have a plan on when you're listing and when it needs to be listed by. Over the years, I'm going into my fourth year, I just completed my third year on Etsy. Over the years, I have bought numerous resources that have been just invaluable to me, helping me to know when to list for a niche and when to be done listing for that niche by. If you don't already have one, you're going to want to grab a calendar, and if any of these niches appeal to you, you're going to want to jot down for yourself and start creating your own resource. You're going to want to make sure that you are getting your designs up, start getting your designs up 45 to 90 days before the highest search volumes for those topics are coming up. That'll give you a chance to get a lot of designs in. It'll give you a chance to kind of feed the algorithm of Etsy in that particular niche. It'll also give you a chance to list over time, which helps to feed that algorithm, which will also help you get better and better at designing in that particular niche. You want to kind of have this in place ahead of time. Right now, if you're not already putting Valentine's Day stuff up, I wouldn't really work on that right now. It's just coming up too soon for your items to get out there and to start getting seen and to start getting worked up in the algorithm. If you've already been designing in Valentine's Day, then maybe continue designing for another week and a half before you want to move on to the next thing that's further out. I am currently creating my own general niche calendar. I already have a teacher themed one that helps you list through all the big things for teacher if you're building out the teacher niche in your shop. And I have a Q4 calendar specifically to help you get ready for those holiday months where you can make so much money on Etsy. Right now I'm putting my general niche calendar together, and I keep thinking of new pieces that I want to add to it, which is why I'm not done with it quite yet. I'm hoping to have it done within the week, and I will link it down in the description as soon as it's done. I'm building it out not only to include a calendar January through December, when you should start listing, when you should be all done listing by, all based on the type of research that I am bringing to you now, plus my own experience in when sales kick up for the niches that I'm chatting about in that resource. In addition to that, I built it out really wanting to encourage you to pick a few evergreen niches that you list throughout the year. And so I'm listing tons of great evergreen niches and then breaking those evergreen niches down into smaller sub-niches or categories of the evergreen niche. So for example, professions is in there as an evergreen niche, and then I break it down into 50 plus professions that would be really good ones to be adding to your store on a regular basis. So do keep your eyes peeled for that. And if you're finding value from this video, I'd so appreciate it if you let me know by booping the like button down below. And if you don't want to miss any future content like this, you'll want to subscribe. All right, let's do the next 8 and let's do them fast. Number 3, we've got frog shirt. And we see it's kind of got a spike there. It looks like in January and February, again over the summer, and it looks like June there, maybe July. And then again at the end of the year. We've got MILF, Man I Love Frogs. I think MILF, last time I checked, was trademarked, so you'd want to check on something like that. And then a lot of bestsellers here with just kind of watercolor pictures on the shirts. And another one here, they're riding the bike. We've got the 2 frogs. Another one was kind of mystic with the, looks like a tarot card there. So super interesting niche. Next up, pickle shirts, which has a high in over the summer. Looks like August and September. The pickle shirts really get popular. And I wonder if this has something to do with pickleball also. Lots of funny pickle shirts when we head over to Etsy. A lot of them are just like the grid where you've got 3x3, or some of them look like 3x4. So you've got like 12 pictures of pickle jars. Not sure what the rules would be with that, as you know, those are trademarked brands for pickles. Here I do see it looks like a pickleball type shirt. I'm a big dill. They did one with just more generic pickle jars, and they Santa'd it up with reindeer ears and Santa Claus hats, and those were bestsellers over the holidays. So this one I found very surprising. Pickle shirts, who knew? 5th up is anti-shirt, and it was specifically in Erank, the term that was pulling up was anti-shirt. Now, if I were going to do an anti-shirt, I'd probably in my drop-down menu let people choose anti or ant and have both of those as options, or maybe even Tia. From our statistics, it looks like there's a spike in anti-shirts in April and May. It looks like a higher spike there, so might want to think about adding anti-shirts to your shop soon. When we hit Etsy, we see a lot of them are personalized. We've got the anti with the name underneath, and anti life is the best life. I also know another one that sells really well is like an anti that's going to soon be an anti. It's something that they might buy for their relative to let them know that, hey, we're having a baby and you're going to be an aunt. Number 6 on our list is the capybara, which I was not familiar with that animal until I saw this list. And that's like a hamster type of rodent. It's the largest rodent, and their shirts are really popular right now. According to our statistics, it looks like they are really taking off in April and May. So we've got really low search volume, really high search volume, and really low Etsy competition on that one. When we do a quick search on Etsy, we see a couple of shirts here. We see a definition one that's doing really well, and one that's just a graphic on the shirt. Number 7 was Goblin Core shirt. And you might be scratching your head, what is Goblin Core? Well, Goblin Core, one could say that finding in the ugly is at the heart of Goblin Core. Those elements of nature that are typically regarded as unpleasant, such as snakes, frogs, snails, worms, animal skeletons, moss, and mushrooms, thereby forming Goblin Core's central imagery. Slippery, slimy, and muddy, it's the real thing. So that might make a little more sense why toad or frog shirts are doing well. Also might be related to the fact that Goblin Core is trending. Mushroom shirts are also doing really well. I didn't mention those. I didn't make this list of 10 today because they were green in search volume, but they were red in Etsy competition. Definitely still worth exploring doing mushroom shirts, but it all makes sense now. It's all kind of connected to this Goblin Core idea. Looking at the statistics, it looks like Goblin Core shirt has a boom in July and August, it looks like. And when we check Etsy out, we see lots of shirts with mushrooms on them pulling up as we scroll through the pages. We see some kind of just outdoors nature things. I see some of those frog shirts coming up also. Some raccoons. So interesting niche, Goblin Core. Number 8 on our list is Juneteenth shirt. In June, to be specific, on June 19th, we celebrate the end of the Civil War and enslaved people being informed that they had their freedom. Now, we are filming this in January right now, and right now you should be listing Black History Month items, as those can sell really well, and some of those designs can then work again for Juneteenth. When we take a quick peek at Etsy, we're going to see a lot of shirts with skin tones being the color scheme, selling well. We've got some Martin Luther King things right now, as Martin Luther King Day is coming up. And then we've also got shirts with the red and the green and the yellow color scheme that do well for Juneteenth also. Number 9, Corgi shirt. Had some nice space there in the market. And the dog niche is fantastic, but it's so broad and there's so much competition there. So you really need to niche down, and this is a nice spot to do that. Might even think about adding things in your shop that are a little different from everybody else's, like a mommy and me type of item for the mom and the corgi. When we look at the stats, we see that they bounce up in December, probably, gifts, and they also bounce up. It looks like May there, that they're bouncing up again, and then again in August and September. So kind of all over the place there, but looking like some nice space. And when we go into Etsy and we start taking a look, we see some fun ideas, and we see a cross niche here with the corgi and the dinosaur. So lots of space here for some new things also. I don't see anything for the doggy and mommy niche. Number 10, we've got OT shirt. So occupational therapist. And the stats there showing a spike in December, another spike in May, and another one in September, and it looks like October. So this is also a great one to build out if you are building out the teacher niche, as there's occupational therapists that are working in schools. So nice one to add there. And when we check out Etsy, we see a couple of ideas, lots of colors. That usually does well in the teacher niche, lots of colors. And for those of you that are still here, I've got a bonus for you. Number 11, or bonus, bourbon shirt. And the graph is kind of all over the place there, really spiking though, looks like in July. And when we check out Etsy, we see some really fun ideas and some scalable type phrases. Life happens, bourbon helps. We've got the definition style shirt. Call me old fashioned, because bourbon must be the main ingredient in an old fashioned. Lots of clever ideas for bourbon shirts. If you felt like this video had some value for you and you learned something new, please don't forget to go ahead and boop that like button. I will be linking that general niche calendar down below as soon as it's finished. I already have the teacher one down there if you're interested. Thanks for staying. Keep hanging out with me here so we can continue talking about how to build a successful Etsy shop this year. But of course, not until after that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.